Ali a gente não consegue abrir ainda. Ali é os esgotos. Deixa eu ligar aqui meu olhar de vampirão. A mulherzinha louca que fica comendo rato. Acho que a minha mãe não ia gostar dela. Eu, no mínimo, ia ter medo dela, sei lá. Ela aparecer com um rato, tá ligado? E aí, meu chefe?
Good evening, sir. May I have your attention, please?
Come on, Johnny. Don't you recognize your oldest friend?
Clarence. Clarence Crossley.
Nossa, meu amigo.
My God. So you survived the war too. So sorry I didn't recognize you at first.
I almost didn't recognize you either. War does that to men, I heard. In my case, it was true, for I witnessed the horror that lies underneath.
Do you need medical assistance, Clarence?
It's a little late for visiting hours, don't you think?
Não, você quer remédio ou não quer, meu
I
chefe?
haven't lost my old habits.
I hope we're talking about the same habits, old friend.
E aí, como tá sua vida em Londres, meu chefe? Meu
When did you
amigo.
escape the war and return to London?
You know what's funny? I almost never think about the war. Not anymore. I'm involved in another kind of battle now.
Ih, rapaz.
I know what you mean.
Que
I
outro
haven't
tipo
had
de,
much time to think about the war either since my return.
de bagulho você tá envolvido aí?
With the epidemic, I bet you've been busy as well. Forgive me, Johnny, I didn't want to sound selfish.
What is this new battle?
I saw terrible things during the war. Horrors I thought I'd forget. They're here too. They're everywhere. Vampires.
Ih, rapaz. Mais um que conhece sobre vampiro. Conte-me aí sobre os seus panfletos.
Why have you distributed leaflets about vampires all across the West End?
I have to warn everybody about them. They've killed thousands of people already. Unnoticed thanks to the epidemic. We are all in danger here.
Nossa, é bem
Vampires
inteligente.
in London? Come on, Clarence. Who's going to believe that?
I'm not mad, Johnny.
Quem acreditaria em mim?
You have to believe me. I know they are real. They're all
É,
around us,
então.
even as we speak.
Eu acredito em você.
Clarence, you've always been a reliable and a good friend to me. If you say you saw a vampire, then I believe you.
Thank you, Johnny.
É, até porque ele tá falando comigo agora, né?
You don't know what that means to me.
It's all right. But if you want my help, you have to explain exactly what happened.
The first time it was in Rouen. I saw an officer drink the blood of a soldier. I saw its teeth, saw it bite. It was a vampire, Johnny, and they're here too.
Ih, rapaz, estão aqui também? Meu Deus, me conte mais sobre isso.
How is
Como
your
sua
wife,
esposa está?
Venus?
We've spent so much time away from each other, and so many things have happened.
Ah, então por isso que ela me
But you're
conhecia. Ela
alive.
é a esposa desse
You
rapaz
returned
aqui.
in one piece and you
Ah,
have a
Venus.
family. How many soldiers can say the same?
Believe me, it's not quite that simple. Unlike you, I'm not the man I used to be.
Está com problemas
Is
em
everything
casa?
all right at home? Surely Venus was relieved to see you return from France in one piece.
Have you forgot what people are like in this part of town, Johnny? Venus fears for our family reputation. Now her husband has become the village idiot.
Ih! Me fala aí sobre o ataque.
Tell me about the vampire you saw in France.
I was enjoying my leave in Rouen. I left the bar, took a shortcut back to the barracks. I saw it in a back alley. An officer in a stained uniform, biting into a soldier's neck.
Estavam bêbados?
But you were drunk, weren't you? Are you sure these two men were not just kissing?
Please don't insult me, Johnny. I hid, and I saw him leave. Then I saw the body, drained of all blood. I've seen the same marks here in London since I've returned.
Ih, deve ter visto um
Did
dos
you
meus
ever
ali.
see that officer again?
No.
Deixei espalhado.
He wore the uniform of the Royal Warwickshire Regiment. I did some research, but found no trace of him. He probably stole it from a previous victim.
É, pode ser. O que você descobriu sobre
Tell
ele?
me what you have discovered about vampires, Clarence.
They've always been here. And if you search for long enough, you realize others know about these devils too. I'm not alone.
Quem
Have you
mais?
shared your research with anybody else?
No. But I've published my leaflets all across the city, hoping that someday someone will realize I'm printing the truth.
Como
What
assim
do you
você
mean
não?
you're not alone? Who have you met?
The Guard of Prewin. The Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole. Ichabod Throgmorton. Those names always pop up when you dig deep enough.
Have you spoken with any of them?
No. With the quarantine, it's almost impossible to leave the West End. But as a doctor, maybe you could, Johnny.
Are you asking me to help you prove the existence of vampires, Clarence?
Yes, Johnny.
É, então,
Please, gather all the information you can find about vampires and bring it to me. You're the only friend I have left. I need you.
então tá.
You need some rest, Clarence. You should try to sleep.
Olha lá, meu amigo. Você precisa descansar um pouco. Você tá falando. Ai, Geneva. Acabou de falar com o vampiro, tá ligado? Nem se notou ainda. Acabou de falar com o vampiro aqui. Sanguessuga. Nossa, ainda tem muita gente pra me abrir ainda que eu não encontrei. Será que tá na casa lá? Sei lá. Porque a cidade está meio perdida, né? A Charlotte. Rosemary. Aqui é onde eu tenho que ir? Aqui é onde eu tenho que ir. Então vamos lá, né? Vamos que vamos. Vamos ver se as outras pessoas a gente encontra aqui ou tem que salvar de alguma forma, sei lá. Mais papo, mais papo.
Do you know where you are standing right now?
In front of the Ascalon Club, I presume.
The Ascalon Club only summons or ostracizes. What is your business tonight?
I received an invitation. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
I'm Jonathan.
Welcome to the Ascalon Club, then, Dr. Reed. Please proceed. Lord Redgrave is
Esse
waiting
aí
on
tem
you.
uns olhos vermelhos, né? Eita! Quem és tu, né, chato?
Welcome to the Ascalon Club, then, Dr. Reed.
Ah, não dá pra falar contigo, não?
There has been
Welcome
quite
to
a
the
battle
Ascalon
here.
Club, then, Dr. Reed.
Vamos ver o que dá
I'm
pra
sure the
roubar aqui.
Ascalon Club has the money to replace the furniture.
Vamos ver o que dá pra gente roubar aqui, que o bagulho tá brabo pra gente.
Welcome to the Ascalon Club, then, Dr.
Não,
Reed.
você só fala isso? Enquanto isso eu vou roubando seus dinheiros aqui. Seus dinheiros. Vou roubando tudo. Tudo que vocês tiverem. Eu não preciso ter pressa não, né? Ah. Opa. Vamos ver o que tem aqui.
It's locked.
Opa! História da casa de Aston. Não tem mais nada, então deixar aqui aí vocês dão um pause aí. Pô, mas que casa Não tem nada pra se roubar aqui. Oxe. Meu chefe. Tem que dar mais uma olhadinha nessas casas aí, hein? Quero coisas pra roubar. Vamos? Carrega aí, filho. Nossa, eu saí. Oxe, eu saí da casa. Olha só. Pra pelo menos abrir esse portão aqui, né? Abrir, tá aberto. Vamos entrar de novo. Eu não sei por que eu saí. Não sei, tá ligado? Não, porque eu pensei que ia dar em outro lugar. Então sempre quando tiver aquela setinha assim, as duas setinhas que eu vou sair do ambiente. Já devia ter prestado atenção nisso. Acho que não tem mais nada aqui. Vamos ir para o segundo andar para ver se a gente encontra coisa. Challenge. Ó, poderia ficar com essa espadona aqui. Nossa, me gostaria dessa espadona aí. Tem coisas. Vamos roubar tudo antes de conversar com o povo. Que é isso que os vampiros fazem. Antes de conversar com o povo, a gente rouba tudo que tiver para roubar na casa dos outros vampiros. Opa! Tem mais. O que é isso? Chave para o portão da casa de Aston. Mas já está aberto. Opa. Mais dinheirinho jogado. O pessoal tá jogando carteado aqui bonito. Tudo borrado, não consigo nem ver, nem apreciar. Já está aberto. Dá pra me quebrar o jarro, não? Ih, rapaz, é o pessoal todo aí que faltava. Ih, vampetas pra caramba. Já matei alguns desses aí. Lá fora.
My good friends, if I may have your attention. Behold our visitor, the good Dr. Reed. Newborn of blood so pure and strong that even my friend Fergal Bansher was no match for him.
Here, here, here.
Come forward, young Ekon, for we have so much to discuss. Welcome to the Ascalon Club, Dr. Reed. I am Lord Redgrave, Earl of Bristol and chairman of this exclusive association.
Lord Redgrave.
Por que eles têm os olhos
I've been
vermelhos
eager to
aqui
make
ou
your
não?
acquaintance. I've heard some astounding things about you. Please accept my condolences for your loss, Dr. Reed.
Thank you, my lord. Lady Ashbury expressed your wish to meet me.
Yes. The lady has always been a useful acquaintance, though not always reliable. Is she a good friend of yours?
She's a close friend, and I'm honored that she feels the same about me.
The centuries have taught me never to trust a woman completely, especially if she is immortal. Too prone to emotions, if you ask me. Too fickle when it comes to important decisions.
My lord, do not expect me to speak ill of Lady Ashbury.
Of course not, and I praise your loyalty. Would you offer the same fidelity to the Empire?
What do you mean?
I speak of the Skull Plague that threatens London and the country. You have been on the front line in the East End, but the time has come to open up a second front here.
The epidemic has escaped the quarantine. You have new cases of the outbreak.
We don't know for certain, but we cannot allow the disease to threaten the prominent heads of Great Britain.
Por quê?
Why do you suddenly need me?
The Ascalon Club only recruits the best, and you definitely fit the bill. Your scientific and medical reputation alone would qualify you as a candidate.
You want me to find possible sources of the outbreak in the West End. Is that it?
Ah, straight to the point, like all eager newborns. We shall have time to talk about all this, Dr. Reed, but first, I should like to get to know you better.
Yeah.
Talk? Is that the only reason you asked me here?
Well, no. I also wanted to meet the intriguing Ekon, who made such a powerful progeny of his sister. You have not learned the name of your maker, am I correct?
É isso aí. Não, não foi.
No, I haven't.
Have no embarrassment, Dr. Reed. We all make mistakes. But whatever your lineage, you are definitely Ascalon material.
What do you mean?
I would like you to become a member of the Ascalon Club, and to serve me as such.
Tem perguntas.
Before I accept, I have so many questions.
Please ask.
Qual é o
What
propósito
is
da
the
casa?
Ascalon Club's express purpose?
We follow the credo of William Marshall, the greatest knight who ever lived. As was he, we are sworn to protect the British Empire.
O que significa
What
isso?
does Ascalon mean?
Ascalon was the lance wielded by St.
Lance-
George,
St.
glorious
George,
patron
ah.
saint of England when he slew the dragon. And like that lance, we pierce the hearts of all our nation's enemies.
William Marshall.
William Marshall founded the Ascalon Club.
Not exactly. William Marshall granted me immortality, and I founded the club a few years later. The good knight has been gone for so long.
O que
What
significa
does
ser
it mean to be a member of the Ascalon Club?
It means that you swear to protect the interests of the crown, that you become a loyal servant of the British Empire.
Do you have any official recognition from the government? A charter from His Majesty the King?
No. Of course, the Ascalon Club publicly supports the Empire, but the true nature of its members remains a secret.
E o que eu
Am
devo
I supposed to
obedecer?
follow orders?
As founder and chairman of the club, I alone am entitled to make demands of our members, and I do appreciate obedience.
Matei
I
você.
killed Fergal, who claimed to be one of yours, sent to cleanse the East End of all skulls. Will his death be an issue?
Do not worry. My priorities have changed. Fergal was a zealous servant of mine, but like any servant, he had his limitations and is readily replaced if necessary.
Caralho. Eu aceito.
I agree to join the club.
This is good news. Good news indeed in these crucial times. Let's inform the Assembly formally and proceed with your initiation.
My initiation?
Fear not. Nothing fancy nor dangerous. It is just that we, the members of Ascalon, believe that tradition and custom are the backbone of this country. My fellow members, dear friends, please gather and welcome this Ekon as one of our own.
Is he worthy? Is his blood pure?
Well, speak, Dr. Reed, in front of the most sacred blood. The blood of our beloved William Marshall. Speak now. Will you serve and protect the crown as he did?
Yes, I will.
Then, young Ekon, it is time to testify with your blood.
Ih,
It is time to sign the Book of Allegiance. I know it's awfully gothic and a tad pedantic, but England's traditions are the backbone of our nation.
vai lá, tem que furar o dedo? Como é que faz? Como é que faz? Não é assim mesmo. Dá uma chunchada aqui.
Delightful. Welcome to the Ascalon Club, Dr. Reed. Take your place among the bearers of the lance.
One of
Uma
us.
portadora
One
da
of
lança.
us.
Ih, tem um velhinho ali. Posso falar com o pessoal agora? Vamos falar com eles de novo?
I
Posso falar com ninguém?
patrolling last night in the West End, and I spotted at least 2
Não posso falar
foreign
com velhinho.
elements. This
Good evening,
is
Dr.
an
Reed.
outrage.
How does it feel to be this evening's centerpiece? Figuratively.
Me sinto
It's
meio
quite
desconfortável.
unsettling. As a doctor, I am more used to being the observer than the subject observed.
Do not be alarmed. The Ascalon Club has a tried and tested policy for choosing its initiates.
May I ask who you are, sir?
Why would you be interested?
Well, as you seem to be the only man in the room with a beating heart, you draw quite a bit of attention yourself.
Ah, vampire senses never cease to fascinate me. They dwarf those of mere mortals. I am Aloysius Dawson, by the way.
Não tem medo
Are
de
you not
vampiro?
afraid? You are surrounded by vampires.
Sir, it's for that very reason that I joined the club in the first place.
Is
Sacada
not the
nessa cara.
nature of this club a secret, shared by only a privileged few?
My dear Dr. Reed, I have spent years and a fortune precisely to gather that kind of information.
So you asked for membership?
I have been a member of many clubs in many countries. But I must admit, this one is my favorite.
What can you tell me about Lord Redgrave?
I would not dare speak of our chairman without his consent.
Você é
Are you
membro
a
dessa
member of
casa?
the club?
Yes, I am. And I have been for many years. And will be until the day I die.
Conte-me sobre a casa.
What can you tell me about it?
It's not really my place to give you such information. I am merely a mortal member, and a dying one at that.
Está doente?
Are you sick?
Personally, I consider my advancing years are a sickness in itself. My body is slowly abandoning me, Dr. Reed.
Você é
Mr.
famoso?
Dawson. Of Dawson and Dawson. The wealthiest man in England. It is a pleasure to meet such a prominent figure of London.
A withering London figurehead, to be precise.
Are you sick, Mr. Dawson? I am a doctor, you know.
My case is beyond the scope of traditional medicine. I have spent fortunes on the world's most competent doctors to arrive at that diagnostic conclusion.
I'm sorry to hear that, sir. Should I suppose that you're here in search of some form of immortality?
Absolutely not. I'm here to implement my plan to save the city I was born in. To cast
qual
out
seria esse
the
plano?
ghastly evil that has us all on our knees.
What is the situation like in this part of town?
I am sure Lord Redgrave will enlighten you more effectively than I.
Sobre
What
a
do you
guarda
know
esprema.
about the Guard of Priwen?
I should not say this, but I admire their commitment. This is what the nation needs right now.
But
Eles
they
são
are
nossos
our
inimigos?
enemies.
They are not mine, Dr. Reed.
Would you help them?
No. There is a time for such methods. But brute force will not be enough to fight this plague. We have to think differently.
Money cannot solve every problem. This mysterious epidemic is going to require more than money can buy.
You're right. Money is nothing unless one has the will to wield it. I have a plan, sir. A radical one that will save all that is essential in London.
What is your plan, then?
Quarantine and barricades are futile. What we need is a wall.
Ah, valeu,
A
Trump.
formidable, unscalable wall to isolate the deserving from the infected masses.
Acho que é injusto.
But that would segregate the rich from the poor, would it not? It would be unjust.
Our only course of action must be to save England. And to save England, we have to make
Ciao, ciao, ciao,
sacrifices.
Are you not mistaking sacrifice for summary execution?
Why do you care? Are you not a vampire? Removed from all mortal concerns? Decisiveness is what the city needs, and it needs it now.
I must admit the Guard of Priwen impressed me. They must have spent years
Tá, tem mais alguém pra me falar aqui? Ou algo pra me roubar? Tchau, te abençoe. Ó, a adaga boa. Ah, tem que falar com o cara lá, né? Não tem mais ninguém pra me falar aqui, os vampiros não falam. Deixa eu voltar a falar com o carinha aqui.
That went well, did it not? It is always useful to bolster the troops' morale, especially before a difficult battle.
You have the makings of a general, my lord.
I was, though very long ago, well, not quite a general,
Que eu posso chegar mais
proud
perto.
defender of the crown.
So why did you
Ficar
really...
pra ali melhor, tá ligado?
Straight to the point again.
Baixei
Echo.
já a
All
câmera.
right, let's talk, you and I, Lance Bearer.
I'm listening, my lord.
According to my spies, you have worked with Dr. Edgar Swansea on the epidemic, and your findings were quite alarming.
Anda me
You were
espionando.
spying on me.
Not personally. I rarely leave this building. But once he found you, Fergal kept me informed. Until you put an end to his mission.
Quem era
Who
Fergal?
was Fergal? I don't see him sipping tea with the others in the club.
Fergal Banshire was my squire of sorts. Even before becoming that magnificent beast, he was a brute. He served me well for decades.
No, I mean, what was he? He was clearly no ordinary vampire.
No, he was a Volcod. All muscles and instinct. Quite the rare breed. Ferociously territorial. Mortals often mistake them for werewolves.
É, não é muito lobisomem.
You do know I killed him.
Yes.
Will you bear ill will towards me for his death?
Of course not. Your victory was quite impressive and courageous. You earned my respect.
Conquistei o respeito pra...
Do you know
Edgar
Edgar
Swansea.
Swansea?
Not personally. But I've been told he has some sort of immortal fetish and is a good friend of yours.
Does it bother you that I consider him my good friend?
As long as you reveal nothing of the club's inner workings, why should I forbid you engaging in conversation with the good Dr. Swansea?
Yes, I'm convinced the recent invasion of frenzied scowls in London is directly linked to the epidemic.
É,
This is
isso aí.
not the Spanish flu, but something else.
I would be glad to hear more of your discoveries, Dr. Reed, but for now, my main concern is the security of London's inhabitants, both mortal and immortal.
What do you mean?
Alarmed by the epidemic, the Guard of Prewen has started a war against us
Yeah.
British vampires. To appease the situation, we must eradicate the Skulls.
Acho que os caras são vítimas.
Skulls are hostile vectors of contagion. That is a fact. But first and foremost, they are victims.
I agree, Dr. Reed. Most of the new Skulls who roam the streets at night used to be good British citizens. But they must be put down nevertheless.
So, what do you want me to do?
I want you to investigate the city thoroughly. I have reason to fear there are cases of contagion in this part of town. Our absolute priority is to find and cleanse them.
And how would you like me to proceed?
By all means necessary, Dr. Reed. You are now a member of the Ascalon Club and you have carte blanche. Interrogate the locals, follow all the leads you find, and get results.
Ih, ganhei mais um nível de enfeitiçar. Vamos lá, você sabe sobre...
We'll talk later, Dr. Reed.
Ah, safado. Talk later, Dr. Reed. E você sabe de alguma coisa?
How is your investigation going, Dr. Reed? Time is our enemy.
I have a few questions for your lordship.
All right, but be quick.
What
Sobre a
can you
grande
tell
caçada.
me about the Great Hunt?
It's a major concern. And I'm convinced we'll only get a satisfactory conclusion by putting an end to the epidemic.
I have already met Geoffrey McCullum. I am certain he will persist until he has killed every last vampire.
The Guard's current successful recruitment campaign is driven by the ravenous behavior of the Skulls.
I see. So without the epidemic creating Skulls, the Guard could not convince anybody of our presence.
Exactly. Once we have put the epidemic behind us, we need only wait until the Guard grows old and weak. Time will once
Nossa,
again
é
become
muito
our
papo que
ally.
tem no jogo, né?
What about
Do
the
risco
risk
de um
of a
ataque.
full-scale attack here? Geoffrey McCullum is a daring leader.
That is exactly why so many of our number have left the country until things improve. But not me. I founded this club. I'll die defending it.
Muito bom, muito bom.
You
William
made me
Marshall.
swear on the blood of William Marshall during my initiation ceremony. Why was that?
William Marshall was the most glorious knight who ever lived. He
Cinco
served
reis, é.
5 kings.
Tem uma vida
and
bem
a
longa.
living example of probity for all. And he was my maker.
Você é bem velho, hein? Ele era
William
vampiro?
Marshall was a vampire. Is this some sort of joke?
Isso é algum tipo de brincadeira?
Could he be my maker?
That would be joyful news. For it would mean he still walks among us. But alas, the great knight has left this world for good.
Why is his blood
E por que que
so
é sagrado,
sacred to
sangue
the
dele?
Ascalon Club?
He was simply the greatest defender of the realm we have ever known. I fought by his side at the Battle of Preston, and he made me his progeny following the fight.
Então é por você.
May I ask you about the mortal who attended my initiation? Mr. Aloysius Dawson.
A member of the club does not normally ask questions about other members. We trust each other mutually.
So he
Yeah,
really
I
is a
don't
member then?
Indeed. Only the most eminent members are allowed to attend such ceremonies. Even if I admit some of us fled during the first hours of the Great Hunt.
But Mr. Dawson is mortal. Are you not afraid he might reveal who you are? Especially to your enemies.
Aloysius Dawson is a man of his word, as are all of us. This is the Ascalon Club, Dr. Reed. We do not grant access to the unworthy.
Goodbye, Lord Redgrave.
Godspeed, Dr. Reed. We are counting on you.
Investigue o cidadão. Cidadão.
I personally went patrolling last night in the West End, and I
Será que é o
outrage.
Dawson lá?
Chase these intruders down.
Investiga o cidadão.
Gigantic Falcon 2 nights ago.
Não é você não, é?
Sure you have more important things to do than talking with an old
Vamos ver com o mordomo ali. Opa! Que é isso? Challenge. Challenge é bom. Cadê? Acho que dá pra me falar com os carinhas agora, né?
Welcome to the Ascalon Club, then, Dr. Reed.
Eu acho que não. Vou tentar falar lá com os vampiros lá pra ver se dá. Dá pra falar com vocês? Não dá, né? Eles só ficam falando entre si meio. Nossa, precisa de nível 20 pra enfeitiçar. O bicho é brabo. Os bichos aqui tudo é brabo. Mas é a verdade. Vamos lá pra cidade então, investigar o povo lá.
I think Lord Redgrave just suggested I was sired by an ancient vampire.
Sabe de alguma coisa esse, ó?
Good evening, Miss Ashbury.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed.
Sabe alguma coisa
I'm
aí?
investigating the source of the epidemic in this district. Have you noticed anything unusual recently?
A few days ago, I spotted a strange house while campaigning for women's suffrage. Awful smell. No answer when I knocked.
Where is it?
It's the Mullaneys, a nice family who live in a big house near the park in the eastern part of this neighborhood.
Muito bom.
Goodbye, Charlotte. Give my best regards to your mother when you see her.
She's been quite busy these last few nights. I suspect you may see her before me.
Remember, don't let any strangers come into your house.
E aí, minha filha?
Good evening, old chap. Are you all right?
I won't lie to you, Johnny. I'm not a well man.
E aí, sabe?
I'm investigating the source of the epidemic in this district. Can you help me?
Infection is everywhere these days. But if you ever go to the park near that swanky house belonging to the Mullaneys...
Yes? What about the Mullaneys? What about their house?
Not enough noise for a big family with children. Not enough movement. Closed doors. What is going on
Acho que eu vou ter que encontrar lá.
I wonder.
You need some rest, Clarence. You should try to sleep.
Tchau. Ah, tem 2 lugares aqui agora.
Why are vampire hunters sniffing around here? I need to find out what they're after.
A leech! A leech! Christ! He's dead!
Toma, minha chapa. Quer se meter comigo? Quarentena. Não era isso que eu queria. Não, não queria a porta não, quero a bolsa. Oxe. Você não deixou nada não, minha chave?
Burn it, boys!
Ah, que isso? Parecendo do nada, do nada. Ah, nossa, que tiro chato! Vou matar esse aqui primeiro, que... E você, seu chato de galoche. Ah! Filho de uma porca estranha. Explode aí, meu filho. Explode aí. Nossa. Toma, seu otário. Cadê o outro? Não tem outro, né? Ih, rapaz. Deixa eu comer ratinho.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
Nossa, achei uma aliança aqui no lixo.
This is despicable. I have this thirst for blood.
Não é por aqui? Tô perto, mas tô longe ao mesmo tempo. Não tô conseguindo entender onde está essa casa. Será que é por aqui?